One of my favorite verses in the Bible is found in the book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 27. So God created human beings in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. This is one of my favorite verses because it tells us that each person, regardless of where they were born, regardless of what they look like, regardless of their socioeconomic status, regardless of how they vote, they're made in God's image. Each and every person who has ever lived, each and every person who will ever live, has inherent worth and value because they have been made in God's image. It doesn't matter what religion they are. It doesn't matter whether they have a religion or not. They are made, each person is made in God's image. Each person, every person, is valuable to God because they were made in his image. And as such, each person has value, should have value. They do have value. We should recognize each and every person as having value because they're made in God's image. There's something about us, about humans, that gives us value. And that is the reality and the fact that we were made in God's image. We're going to talk more about this in the month of September. We're going to take a little break from our series on Galatians. We're going to talk more about this in 2026 as we go through the book of Genesis, especially the first few chapters of Genesis. We're going to talk about how God has made us in his image. And because of that, we have inherent worth and value. So what that means is when we talk to anyone, regardless of who they are, what they are, where they are, what their association is, they have inherent worth and value. God sees them as being valuable. And the reality is Christ died for them. Now, whether we or they accept that, that's a different story. We're not talking about that. But what we are talking about is the inherent worth and value that all humans have because God has made them. Do you see every human being that you come into contact with as inherently worthy and valuable because God made them? I want to challenge you to do that. To see every human being as valuable and inherently worthy because they have been made in God's image. Sam talked about this as bestowed worth, right? God gave each and every person something. That was his image. He made them in his image. And each and every person has a bestowed worth that's given to them by God. And we, especially we as Christians, we are to look at every person that we come across and see them as inherently valuable and worthy because God made them in his image. One of the ways C.S. Lewis talks about this, I think it's in Mere Christianity, is like every person that we see, we are seeing a person who will live eternally. They'll either live eternally with God or they'll live eternally separated from him. But there are no temporal people. Everyone that we see is an eternal creature, will live forever. And I want to challenge you and encourage you to see them as that. I want to challenge and encourage you to see every person that you come across today, every person that you come across this weekend as someone who's been made in God's image and treat them as such. Love you, praying with you, praying for you. We'll talk to you again soon.